Greg Ehrenberg here with Adam Scherer. It is another shorter NBA slate, only 3 games, but we do have more injuries certainly than we had a couple of days ago on only the 2-game slate where we had nothing to talk about. Today we've got some key ones and some pretty big situations going to open up value we'll be talking about as we go on. Do us a favor as you guys are watching the video, like this video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and as I always say, leave a question below, ask anything you want in the comment section. If you just want to point out that you love the picture that we have photoshopped of Adam, say that as well. Any comments are certainly appreciated. Let's talk about the injuries for today, starting with the Knicks Hornets game. We've got Knicks Pelicans game, I should say. Devonte Graham is listed as questionable, and individually, we haven't seen too many massive games out of him, but since this is only a shorter slate, I think his absence could have pretty big outcomes. Who would stand out to you as a value play if Devonte Graham isn't able to play?
Yeah, I mean, I think you would get discounted Nickeil Alexander-Walker, most likely stepping into more minutes. You could certainly see more playing time from Jose Alvarado or Garrett Temple as well as a trickle-down effect, probably more ball handling for Brandon Ingram, maybe more assist opportunities for him. So I don't know necessarily that one guy would just step up to be like a clear top play. And the main reason I say that is because we have seen Nickeil Alexander-Walker not phased out of the rotation, but having his minutes cut back recently. So there's certainly a chance where he would step up and just play a much bigger role. But I'm not quite as confident in like the one-to-one trade-off as I would be if he had been playing well and maintaining his normal role off the bench. But he would still be the first guy I look to, followed by assuming you're going to get more minutes for guys like Temple and Alvarado.
Yeah, I agree. And the other thing, too, is just with this being a 3-game slate, if Graham is out, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, just based on his upside, if he does get the minutes, certainly becomes a pretty high consideration for me in tournaments just based on the potential upside at his price point. Next situation, this one is definitely going to be something that's producing value for us. Deandre Ayton is out, and he's been out for a little bit, but still, we've seen the situation with him being out of the lineup. Extra minutes go to JaVale McGee. Bismack Biyombo appears to have leapfrogged Jalen Smith in the rotation, to the point that Smith probably will play 0 minutes, and if he does play, probably won't be all that significant. But who do you view as the top value options in the front court for the Suns, or do you think that McGee and Biyombo are both viable options?
I think they're both viable. I still view McGee as the number one option. I'm assuming he's going to start. He should play 23, 24 minutes, somewhere in there. He's averaged 1.32 DraftKings points per minute this year. But there, right now at least, is also a big ownership discount or disparity between Biyombo and McGee. The rotation we saw last game was that they split 48 minutes. There's no guarantee that happens again. You could certainly get 24 for McGee, 16 for Biyombo, 8 for Smith, something like that. There's a non-zero chance of that happening. But based on the rotation we saw last game, at least, it makes both of them look like good values. The thing to keep in mind is just that based on the rotation we saw 2 games ago, you wouldn't give Biyombo minutes. So I think it's a volatile situation. I think the constant is that you can expect 24 minutes or so from McGee. Biyombo at this point seems like the most likely backup. He's been very productive this year as well, 1.2 DraftKings points per minute. So that's the route that I'm going. But, again, if McGee isn't in foul trouble and doesn't play like 22 to 24 minutes, I'd be surprised. If anything happens with Biyombo, it's less surprising.
The NBA Injury Report is once again sponsored by Yahoo Daily Fantasy Sports. If you guys have not signed up for Yahoo yet, sign up in the link in the description box below. You head on over to Yahoo, make a deposit, enter a contest. You get yourself 1 free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum. You find our ownership projections, player projections, and all the other tools that you need to build winning DFS lineups. All right, carrying on with the rest of the injury report, and this is going to be a big one. Domantas Sabonis last night rolled his ankle in a loss, or in a win, I should say, over the Lakers. After the game, Rick Carlisle said that he thought it was a fairly substantial ankle sprain. He thinks that Sabonis could miss an extended period of time. With that in mind, I doubt he's going to play today or for the near future. And that comes in addition to TJ McConnell is out for them. TJ Warren's yet to make his season debut. Miles Turner is also out. Not that many guys to play in the front court here, Adam, for the Pacers. Who do you think become the top value options to look at now?
Yeah, I mean, I think Torrey Craig, O'Shea Brissett and O'Shea Brissett, I should say, are likely to pick up more minutes. You and I talked about it a bit on the strategy show this morning. It'll be interesting to see what Indiana does from a lineup standpoint, because they really should, like you had said this morning, increase variance and probably just go with smaller lineups that have more three-point shooting. They also may decide to just start Goga Batadze, play him for 24 minutes against Kevon Looney, and go from there. If Batadze starts, he looks very good. If he comes off the bench, I think it indicates that they're going with a smaller lineup and that we can't trust him to play a lot of minutes. But that would be good for guys like Brissett, Craig, Jeremy Lamb, if he's active at 3K flat. Those guys all look good regardless, but they look even better if Indiana commits to a small lineup right out of the gate.
Yeah, nothing more tilting, by the way, than doing this injury report show and getting an injury update on my phone, and be like, "Oh, what's happening? Oh, LeBron James is probable tomorrow. Cool." As if that's information I didn't know. The Lakers should be fine for every time they list LeBron James as probable
Right.
with that abdominal injury, the most ridiculous injury designation we have going right now. But
The only thing
yeah,
worse than that is when, like, 10 minutes before, like, tip on or 10 minutes before, like, the 8:30 games tip on a non-Lakers slate, it'll be or on a Lakers slate when they play at, like, 10:30, it'll be like, "LeBron available tonight." So, okay, didn't need that. I thought you were, like, ruling somebody else out.
yeah, I guess I just have to mute LeBron on Twitter so I don't
Right.
get any of the updates because it's the same thing all the time. Or just nonsense arguments. One other thing I'm going to mention about O'Shea Brissett that I brought up this morning, he's more expensive than Batadze. He's more expensive than any of these other cheap options like Isaiah Jackson we could go to. So the reason I think of I think of O'Shea Brissett as a higher priority over Batadze or Isaiah Jackson. It's not that I'm super confident he's going to start, but this game has a later start time than the other games tonight. And if you do want to play the Pacers value, it's just going to be easiest to get off of Brissett and move to the other guys than it is to go from Jackson or Batadze up to Brissett just because he's more expensive. So at least making initial lineups, that's what makes Brissett the higher priority for me. I wanted to point that out because I think it's a good piece of strategy for today. The final piece of injury news to hit on, Draymond Green remains out. He's going to be out for a little while. Otto Porter's also out. And we've got Kuminga has been confirmed as the starter in the near future for the Golden State Warriors. Now with Kuminga, I think generally we're not totally sure what we're going to be getting out of him, but in a situation where there are these players in the front court out for the Warriors, I think we feel pretty secure about his minutes. Do you think that he plays regardless if the game is close or if it's a blowout in the fourth quarter?
Yeah, I do because so last game he started against Detroit. He played about 25 minutes. He dealt with foul trouble in the first half, or he possibly would have played more. But the thing that stands out there is that he played the final 9 minutes and 6 seconds of that game. The only starters that played in the fourth quarter were Kuminga and Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson, logically, it made sense for him to get a few minutes in the fourth just to, ramp him up, get him up to the 22 minutes that they wanted him to play. So Kuminga basically just got garbage time, and I would expect that to be the case. I also expect him to be in the closing lineup. It's a situation where he's good enough, I think, given the players available for Golden State right now, that he should be in the lineup in a competitive game. That's why they're starting him. But also, once Golden State is back to full strength, there's not really going to be minutes available for Kuminga, and this is someone that they clearly have an incentive to develop and get him NBA minutes when they can. So I don't really know why you would be choosy about what the score is when you can get those NBA minutes.
Yep, I see it the same way. To me, as of now, Jonathan Kuminga, the top value play on the slate today. Do us a favor, guys. Like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Any questions at all, leave them in the comment section below. Good luck tonight.